Okay, good evening. Welcome to another episode of H3 Health, Hope, and Happiness. My name is Alan Friesen. With me is my co-host, Brother Scott Sweetman.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. We're sort of double tagging a mic, but we're going to have a great night. We have a really interesting guest for you.
CeCe.
Hello.
There's CeCe. Okay, CeCe is a young Indigenous woman who has had some horrible experiences happen in her life and now has on a better path. But we're gonna learn from about CeCe about the things you've experienced and how you kind of move through life, how you process, how you have hope for the future.
Okay. Well, correction. Not Indigenous.
Oh, my bad.
Spanish. I'm Spanish. That's it. All right. It's all right.
Okay.
So what do you guys want to know?
Well, okay. So I don't know. What do you want to share? You have had experiences where a lot of people don't want to talk about them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's value in you talking about them in order to release the emotions and the trauma you would experience in those situations. Yeah. Or is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think all the experiences that were horrible that I went through taught me something along the way.
Yes.
Like, for example, when I was 17, I got attacked and I got my throat slit.
Yeah.
And that taught me, in the process of that happening, they were trying to rob me. And I remember the whole scenario. I'm not going to go through the whole story, but one thing led to another. They were trying to rob me. I tried to walk away, and they pulled my neck back and sliced my throat. But in the process of that whole thing, I realized that when a lot of people on drugs, they don't always do things that they would normally wouldn't do when you're sober.
Right.
When you're on drugs, you do, taught me how to kind of be more alert about my surroundings and how to watch how I speak to people, because sometimes I can get a little mouthy.
And to be a better judge or evaluator of what the situation is.
I used to judge a lot. I used to judge and pick. I used to be the bully.
Okay.
And then I started getting bullied, and I realized that I didn't want to be the bully anymore. So I started changing the way I approach situations, the way I approach people, the way I treat people. And the more nicer I treated people, the more nicer I got treated. So
nice. That was a revelation, eh?
It was a revelation,
nice.
Yes.
And when you had your throat slit when you were 17, that was huge. So then did you have to go to the hospital for a long time?
I went to the hospital. I was in there for about
a week.
A week. They didn't hit my jugular, but they made a dent in my throat. And there was
no lasting damage from that?
No lasting damage, just scarring. But it was something that I don't want to have happen to anybody, that I wouldn't wish on anybody. I ended up seeing the girl that slit my throat in jail, and we ended up making amends, and now she's one of my friends that I actually talk to on a daily basis. So
wow.
Yeah. What did that take, CeCe?
It took a couple of years. For the first few times I've seen her, I chased her down, I wanted to do the same thing. But then I realized that she wasn't in the right mind, and she was just, the drugs took over that day. And she told me, she's like, I don't even remember doing it. And I looked at her and I was like, it's okay. It happened years ago. And I think it was on a New Year's Eve. I think it was when I was turning 19 years old. On New Year's Eve, that's when I saw her another time when we made amends. I was like, it's okay. We were both in jail. We were cellmates in jail on New Year's Eve when I was 19, and I said, it's okay. Beef is dropped. It's all good. Clean slate, and we've been talking ever since.
That's amazing that you can get to that part to have a relationship where you have a friend with this person who tried to slit your throat at one time.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It took a while, but I'm still. If you're on there, but we talk every day. She's currently sober too. So
nice,
fantastic.
Nice.
That took a lot of forgiveness on your part.
It did. It was hard, but I realized that I didn't want to deal with the burden of always being angry and self-conscious, because forgiving her made me stop having to hide the scar with the bandana. I always used to hide a bandana. I always used to have a turtlenecks on and stuff, and then I was just like, no, I'm just gonna try and see if forgiveness would help me kind of deal with the trauma, and it did.
Life with Grandpa.
Oh my God,
sweet.
That's amazing.
Hey?
Amazing.
Tell us more.
He's fantastic to be around. He's always, from when I was a little kid, I never used to want to sleep in the crib.
Yeah.
So my grandpa used to saddle up a horse put me on. This is when I was like a few weeks old. He used to sit on the horse, and I put me on his lap. I used to fall asleep on the horse. So I've been around horses and my grandpa my whole life. He's always been my number one. He's my hero. I would do anything for that man. Anything he ever asks, I do for him. And he's my inspiration. He makes me want to be better.
That's awesome.
Each day, like be better than I was from yesterday. Tomorrow, I want to be better than what I am today. You know what I mean? So
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And that's kind of a dividing line for Grandpa, that somebody wants to get better, wants to improve, wants to make it, do you agree?
yes.
He doesn't want people sitting around moping doing nothing. If he wants you to be actively involved in the next development of your life.
And
right?
I realized my grandpa recently had an incident. I'm not going to say,
Yeah.
but he had an incident that happened, and it caused him to not be able to do as much things as he was able to do before the incident. And I remember seeing him after a year or so, and this was like after he had his incident, about pretty soon. He called me and he said, "Get me back on a horse." I looked at him and I said, "I'm going to get you back on a horse." So the day came along, and I was like, "Grandpa, I'm going for a ride. You're going for a ride too." He's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, saddle up, get ready. You're going for a ride. So I put him on a horse named Rocker, and he started crying. You could see all the tears in his eyes. He was crying because I got him back on the horse. He's like, "You did it. All I need." He said these words, and these will always stick with me. He said, "All I needed to know was to know that I could do it still, that I can do it,
That I can still,
that I can still ride." And now he doesn't use a cane half the time. He walks on his own. He goes for walks every day.
Yeah.
Like he loves his life now. And
Yeah.
like, I think this incident has helped him appreciate more in life.
Yeah.
And like has helped me also appreciate what it'd be like, what it is to have a grandfather like he is.
So the future for you, CeCe, is being like transitioning that Camp Carmen Gay is your vehicle to do what your grandpa was doing. Is it a legacy thing? Do you think? Is that
It's a legacy thing, but I want to do it in a different way.
Oh, tell me more.
I have Grandpa and we've been talking.
Ooh.
He's always done it just with horses and all this, but I want to bring a little mix up into it. I want to bring like abused dogs, like dogs that have been abused. I want to bring them. So say if a kid comes down to camp and kid has trauma, match the kid with a dog that has trauma, and let the kid let the kid with trauma rehabilitate.
They're healing each other.
They're healing each other. And
CeCe, that's brilliant.
And eventually, the kid brings that dog home if they'll allow the dog, right? So it's like trauma healing trauma. So
that's a brilliant idea, CeCe.
And I told Grandpa that, he's like, "You can do it." I was like, "I am." And right now, my dog Journey is healing my trauma.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's beautiful. Yeah. And I think, Scott, you tell us more about your thoughts with healing power of dogs.
Well, yeah, I grew up on a ranch, and so I grew up riding horses almost my whole life. And then I went to college at an equestrian college and studied management. And one of the areas I was interested in was riding therapy.
Yeah.
And so we worked with horses to help physical and mental recovery and all kinds of people. And I've always had dogs. And then when I left the ranch, I couldn't keep horses, but I could keep dogs. So I was involved with dogs, both in training and as companions. And then I got very sick myself. And what helped me through that was our golden retriever. And even as a puppy, because I was bedridden, he wouldn't empty his bladder. He would stay with me until somebody came home, and then he'd run, empty his bladder. But he was just amazing. It was his commitment to me was beyond human ability. He didn't have to go to work like the rest of us.
Yeah.
So, but his commitment, we think of puppies, they're always, just sort of, oh, he's a puppy, he's going to make a mess, he's going to chew stuff up. But it was so important for me as I was recovering to have that other living being who not only needed me, but was there when I needed him. And
wow, that's a powerful story.
Yeah.
Wow.
What dog do you have now?
Now, well, we have a Japanese Akita, but he's not in our house. Every dog kind of has a mom or a dad.
Yeah.
And mine is a 1-year-old. She turned 1 year old on the 13th.
Oh.
A baby pug. Yeah. We have 2 pugs and an Akita. Yeah. So
I think The one dog that's changed my life that I've had, I don't have anymore, was a dog named Onyx, and he was a husky shepherd.
Oh,
And I was homeless in Edmonton for 3 months. No, for half a year in Edmonton. And this dog stayed helped me through depression, through suicidal ideation, through stuff like this dog stopped me from self harming. And it was one day it was a snowstorm and we had to find somewhere to sleep, and I had nowhere to tie up the dog, so I slept under the stairway. And this dog stayed up all night while I slept, and then during the day I would stay up all day while he slept. So it's like we took turns like taking care of that dog. Helped me through like the most worst time I've ever been homeless, the worst time of me being in drugs, being in the street, in and out of jail. That dog kept me out of jail, and then I lost him when I went back in. So,
Wow. But he was really important to you.
he was, because he helped me with a lot. Like I went everywhere with that dog. Everywhere in Edmonton, on White Ave. In Edmonton, White Ave is like the 17th Ave. In Calgary, that's what it's like in Edmonton. I went to every store, they all knew him. They're like, CeCe, no, it's his bad. Like the 7-Eleven would feed him hot dogs, the A&W would feed him a matzo burger. So they knew him well.
Honest was his name?
Onyx, Onyx. I can't pronounce it because I got big lips.
Oh, okay.
I got it. Onyx. Yeah, like the stone.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you know what's interesting is that dogs are pack animals. And in sometimes humans, we're group oriented, but sometimes we forget that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
animals almost never forget that they're part of a herd or a pack, even if that's only a relationship of two. I had horses growing up that were best friends, and not because I didn't have people friends.
I believe horses, like, they bond. I believe,
Sure they do.
like, we had a horse named Rocky, and he passed away,
Oh.
but his best pal was Dutch, and Dutch was a buckskin.
Yeah.
And because Rocky passed away, Dutch wouldn't leave his side, and when he eat, didn't sleep, and ended up passing away too a few weeks later.
Absolutely.
So I believe horses and animals actually like can feel emotions. And so there's people out there that's like, oh, it's just a dog. Oh, he doesn't understand what I'm saying. I'm like,
It's frozen again.
Oh.
I might have to refresh. Jesse said it's frozen.
Okay, just a second.
Should I just refresh it? For you?
You're doing a great job.
I'm sorry.
oh, it's okay.
It's like timer's still going, but Jesse said it's frozen. So I'm not really sure.
I don't think the post
I mean,
Wi-Fi is
I
great.
think it's not
Really?
good tonight. Normally it is.
During
Normally
the
it's
day,
fine.
maybe they might throttle it back at some time.
Should I just reload?
I guess. I think you're gonna have to reset everything if you do.
It looks like it's still it's live again. So yeah, just add us in. No, you did it. Like, I don't know where the camera is, but remember there was a delay. You have to shift over to whatever camera, right? Camo or whatever it's called.
It should be there. Nope, that's all set.
Yeah, dogs and horses are so much a part of my
With me-
life.
With me, animals are like my escape. So I come with the dog, just like my grandpa's ranch comes with horses.
Yeah.
So everybody knows me. Like when I'm in Calgary, I always have a dog with me. Rather it's my friend's dog, or my dog, or some random person's dog, or Walker the dog.
Nice. That's awesome.
So they've just been therapy with me. And it's because animals, I understand them more than I understand myself and people.
Yeah.
Or when I'm with myself, I don't understand all my feelings, or like why I'm feeling the same way. Like I always have anxiety, and like I'm not used to always being happy. So there'll be times where I'll be happy, and I'm like, this is a weird emotion. So I'll purposely make myself sad, or purposely make myself mad because I'm not used to being happy.
Mm.
So that took
When did you have that insight? That's a very interesting insight.
me a while to. I think I got to know myself that way emotionally when I was locked up last, when I was incarcerated last in jail.
Yeah.
Because I was in solitary confinement a lot the last time I was in jail.
Okay. Why were you in solitary confinement? Fighting.
Yeah, I fought. I got into a lot of fights, misbehaving, not listening to staff, bringing contraband in. So I was locked up a lot of the time in my own cell. I only allowed 30 minutes a day out. So it wasn't the best, but it helped me realize who I was and helped me know more about myself.
Do you think your scrapping, your fighting, was necessary for your growth and development too?
No,
No.
because half the time people that I fought didn't deserve I didn't deserve to have that,
Got it.
have me attack them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just would walk up to somebody in jail and just start hitting them.
Yeah.
And it was because I was angry at myself for something.
Yeah.
And I just needed to get my anger out, and I didn't want to get my anger out on myself.
Yeah.
Through self-harming, that I would just harm somebody else.
Yeah. That's a very astute observation, right, about how this is working and now you observe that. Now you know it, right?
Yeah.
So all different.
Well, solitaire at first I hated it.
Yeah.
Now and then I grew to like it. I was like, no. When they came to like you're going to general population again, and I was like, no, keep me in my own self. I don't want a roommate. And I just grew to like it. Like I got used to it.
Did you like meditate or?
No, I just got used to being alone.
Okay.
I'm
and would you like hum or sing or?
I would try to mess with the staff a bit. I would,
how so?
So the jail, they have a buzzer for each cell.
Yeah.
So you buzz, you be like, hey, can I use the washroom? Or like, hey, I need to have some paper, and they bring it up to you. Because you're not out 24/7. You have a buzzer, and the buzzer's connected to the staff station. Sometimes I'd buzz and be like, hey, I see you. And the staff be like, you're only supposed to use this in case you need something or emergencies. It was like, it is an emergency. They were like, what's the emergency? I was like, I need nothing. And I would just pick on them and annoy them, and they eventually grew to the point where they shut off my mic.
Oh.
So I would buzz and I would really need something, but they wouldn't answer because they think it was a joke. I'd be like, I really need something. Like, you can wait.
What would you went through a lot of trials, and there's a lot of people that don't, that haven't experienced that. But self-harm, young people, that's a big issue.
Yeah.
What would you suggest to young people that are just experiencing self-harm as a way to cope with things? Or
now that I haven't self-harmed in, I would say about 2 months. It's been about 2 months since I last self-harmed. But
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it sounded like you said when you were having all the fighting, it was because you had this rage, and either you had to direct it inward, self-harm wise, or you direct it outward on somebody else.
To direct it outward, take that. Thanks for clarifying.
Is that not true? Did I get it right?
Too.
Okay, yeah.
So what was your exact question? I didn't understand.
Well, so you've
what would
2 months, no self-harm. That's amazing. Good job. But self-harm is a big issue for a lot of young people. So what advice could you give them?
Advice that I would pretty much find your outlet. Find an outlet for you. Rather it's writing a book, kicking a soccer ball, throwing out. With me, it's music. So now I just figured this out in the last 2 months, and what actually helps is when I would self-harm, it wasn't always because I was feeling emotions. Most of the time it was because I was bored.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time it's because I was bored or I had nothing to do. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this. I wouldn't realize I was doing it. A lot of the times it was because of that reason. But then I figured out that music, my outlet was music. Find your outlet. Find what helps you. That one thing that can help you through anything.
Yep.
Mine's music.
Excellent.
Playing the guitar, music, poetry writing. Those are my outlets.
Speaking of poetry,
okay.
are you going to give us one?
I got to find it.
All right, you find it. Okay. All right.
You're an amazingly brave person, CeCe. It's
Thank
wonderful
you.
to talk to you.
Okay. Yes, I'm looking forward to your poetry too. But yeah, I like living on the street, living with substance abuse, living with being all the fights and getting beat up, right? That's like, man, get taken away from your mom as soon as you were born, right? Those are huge, huge things. And you've found a way to move through life, flow through life, and have dreams for the future.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's hear it.
This is called Wish You Well. It's about me letting my mom go because I had to cut her out of my life for a bit.
Okay.
I'm tired of holding on to you. It's time I let my pride go and learn to love myself again. I don't want to wait another day. I've waited long enough. I'm ready to see the sun. It's coming up. There's happiness on the horizon. I'm hopeful I can see the light. I've hesitated all my life, but I'm all done. I'm done from running from you. Spent my whole life in your shadow, scared of who I'd be if I let you go. Said goodbye, and I didn't have to see you go. I wish you well, but I can no longer stand inside of what you sabotaged to both of us. I love you to death, but I can't spend the rest of my life in this darkness. I'm done. I wish you the best, but I'm not interested in giving you more of my life. I've already given you too much. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to keep you. I know that you mean well, but when I fail, I don't need you. Rubbing my face in it and treating me like I'm less than you. Tell the truth. You know I'd be better without you. Been in your shoes. Don't be a fool. Try to convince me that I'm the real issue when you're the root to every problem. I know when you're the root to all my issues and every problem. I love you, but not enough to allow you to continue to drown both of us. You're holding me back, you're pulling me down. You make me hate myself. I don't want to leave, but that's what I gotta do. It's the last chance. I'm done.
Wow. Woo. Yeah, that's powerful.
Very articulate.
And you said your mother is like a botanist, a self-taught botanist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so and now she's not doing so well. Or?
No, my mother she has her own demons,
Yeah.
and her demons have gotten the best of her
Okay.
in this moment. She's currently homeless and has all her plants and her dog and cat. But she never had the chance to be a mother when I was born,
Yeah.
which caused half of the issues that the social services never gave my mom a chance to be a mom.
Sure.
Mhm.
So when I was 18 and I was like, I'm 18 years old, I can finally see my mom, nobody can stop me.
Yeah.
When I went to go see her, she was trying to mother me as a child, but I was already an adult.
Yeah.
So she was trying to be a mother, but it was too late because I already knew so much and been through so much
Yeah.
that it just caused her to go downhill even more because she realized that she's never going to be that mom for a kid that
Yeah.
she wanted to be. You know?
Yeah.
And she said many times, if I wasn't taken away, like not my sister, she said if I wasn't taken away me, that she probably wouldn't have got into drugs.
She wouldn't have gotten.
She wouldn't have gone to drugs. She wouldn't have been a stripper. She wouldn't have been a hooker. She wouldn't have prostituted herself. So she said me being taken away was the root to all that because it just broke her down. Because when my sister was taken away, she wanted to redeem herself by having me. And these were her words the last time I talked to her when I saw her 2 weeks ago in Calgary. She said she wanted to redeem herself, so she had me. And
with the intention of raising you, and you were going to be her daughter, and
I was going to be the daughter.
Yeah.
They didn't give her a chance to do that.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, so I feel for her.
Yeah.
I wish her well, but the poem I just read was me, because my mom's not a good mom right now. She never has been.
Yeah.
Towards me because she never got the chance. She's always been verbally abusive, physically, emotionally, psychologically. So all the stuff that she would say and do to me, it messed me up. So I wrote the poem being like letting her go, just cutting her out of my life, but I'll still be there for her. She called me today being like, I'm in the hospital, I'm dying, or I need money and ransom money. I'd be like, here you go, here's whatever you need. I'd figure out a way to help her out. But now I'm just kind of keeping my distance.
Yeah, for your own protection.
Yeah. I don't mean to stare at you. It just seems to be the way I'm staring.
No, it's good.
Well, okay, CeCe, like, how are we doing on time, Michelle?
It is 7:30.
Well, thank you so much, CeCe. Appreciate you coming on and your candid conversation about things that have happened in your life and how you're going forward this and how you have this dream and hope for the future. And I love your traumatized dogs and your traumatized kids and having them heal each other. That's a beautiful idea and definitely something you should pursue. Okay, and we both love your grandpa. He's an amazing man.
He is.
Yes. And okay, so, all right. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode of H3. Take us on home there, Scott.
First of all, I want to say thank you very much to CeCe. What an amazing journey you're on, even though a very painful one. You've risen above that, and throughout it, from what you've shared with us, you've been able to care about people, if not yourself, an animal or another living being, which I think anchors us to want to be here. As long as we can keep caring and loving about something, we start to feel that back. And I think that that's very important and an amazing truth that you've shared with us today. So thank you very much, CeCe, and we wish you all the best. Always my best friend, the acapellist Alan Friesen. We wish everyone a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Get a mutts in. All right. Nice. That was awesome.